What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today, MSTR. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are on this, the 2nd of April. It is April 2nd right now. We have 2 hours and 26 minutes left in the day, the stock day. Bitcoin runs 24/7, you know it does, but here we are, down a little bit from like probably an hour or two ago, 30 minutes ago, something like that, but a little bit of volatility. It's possible that we could continue rising from here. It is possible that we found a momentary high at prior areas of resistance here. It wouldn't surprise me, and I'm still expecting that Bitcoin drops. Therefore, I think MicroStrategy drops too, and I think that I'm not the only person expecting that, right? If MicroStrategy here is up 8.9%, 0.8% on the day, Bitcoin's up 1.6% on the day, I'm assuming that you're having a hard time moving up for a reason, right? There are a lot of people, if we're looking at this, the max pain for this week, the max pain is at $300, right? And which would essentially imply that out of all the open call options, out of all of the open put options, where the most pain is going to be, where people would stand to lose the most money, it's calculated roughly at about $300 there. The underlying price is at $310, $309, somewhere around that area there, right? And that actually gives us more reason to go down than it does to go up. It is Wednesday. We still have 2 hours left in the day. We have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, two days left in the week. It's very possible that we could see just a $10 movement down or more. It is very possible. I'm curious to see what the open interest is here. Let's see. View all expiries by total expiry. Let's see here. It's got to load. Loading. Yes. So we still have a lot of calls open this week. So I'm not expecting any kind of explosive behavior to happen. We also have a lot of calls open on the 17th and beyond. For some reason, wasn't it the 14th? Didn't we have something on the 14th? Maybe I was just dyscalculic and I was getting the numbers confused. I don't know, but I do believe that once this shifts, once we take, and we've had a sub 1 put to call ratio for a very long time. Open interest, we've been at a below 1 read for a very long time, which means that there's more long interest, more call interest than there is short interest, put interest, upside interest than downside interest. I'm going to stop saying all those words. For a long time, it's actually been like this since back here, and all we've done is methodically, slowly grind our way to the downside, right? And movements like this, where you're very boring, they hurt everybody. Whether you're long, whether you're short, regardless of what you're doing, unless you are just spot trading or spot investing, which is probably the best thing to do with something like this right now. You're getting hurt by the fees and the time that goes on, because as time goes on with options, you kind of lose that premium, especially if you're just moving sideways, right? If you have puts open and it's been like a half month and you're just moving sideways, maybe by the time your puts expire, you finally move down a little bit, but it's not going to be as much as you thought it was whenever you opened up your puts over here, or if you have calls open, even worse, because you're moving down and sideways. But at this point in time, I think that just getting away from all the shenanigans, all the semantics here, I do believe that we still are working our way down. I'm not convinced that MicroStrategy has found its low just yet, but I am accepting of the possibility that this could be the low. It's very possible that we could go a little bit lower. I think $200 is an area that we should accept as a possibility, not expect as a reality, right? Accept it as a possibility, but don't count on it. It doesn't mean that it has to happen. From a low here to a high there, the 1272 is right there at $208. The 1414 is at $196. Something in between there, right there at 200. That's a nice psychological level for support, and it is where we found resistance right here before. Could we go a little bit below 200? Sure, we could. But if Bitcoin drops from here, and let's say it drops down to 74 to 70K, like I think it will, that's about a 19% drop, or 17% drop, I'm pretty sure. If MicroStrategy were to drop with Bitcoin, it likely will drop more than 17%. So something, maybe 24% would give us a double bottom. Maybe we drop just a little bit more and we drop 21%. I doubt it. If Bitcoin drops 17%, I doubt MicroStrategy only drops 21%, but maybe. Maybe it drops more. Maybe at a 2-to-1 rate where we see a 34% drop, and that would actually take us right to the this $200 level. So stuff to consider, right? I very much do believe, sitting here at about $307 now, I do believe that we will see MicroStrategy at prices that are below 250, maybe around 200. 200 might be a perfect call, and if not, we might even go a little bit below 200, but nothing too crazy. I doubt that we get below 190 or anything like that. I have a hard time, honestly, seeing you even get down to like that area of 190, but it could happen. It could definitely happen. MicroStrategy is not required to move down at any kind of pace. It could move down at a 2-to-1 pace versus Bitcoin, less than that, more than that, right? So we've gone over all those options there, all those possibilities. Maybe not options, it's not the right word in this context, but possibilities, outcomes. 260. I would really probably even say 250 or more. And the reason why I think 250 or more is on the table is that if we're looking at this here, you know, if Bitcoin drops 17%, that basically takes you to 250. I have a hard time seeing MicroStrategy track it 1-to-1. That doesn't mean just because I have a hard time seeing it doesn't mean that it can't do that. It could, but I really do think that if you're in MicroStrategy right now, MSTR, you should prepare at the very least for prices that are, you know, at sub 250 prices. That's my expectation. Something around 240 to 230, even $200, right? A double bottom here or a slightly lower low. And then from there, you guys, we can start working our way up. I do believe that we go down, you know, we'll probably see resolution of this, if not by the end of this week, next week. And I feel like I keep saying that, man, week after week. It's like we're going to get resolution here soon, but it's just not happening the way that we expect. You know, timing is one of the hardest things to get. If you've learned anything from watching this channel, you've probably learned that timing is not the easiest thing to get, right? Technical levels, price action, it'll happen inevitably. But the timing of it is definitely harder to get. And speaking of things that will happen inevitably, the Thanos of price actions here, price predictions, would be that we are on our way to $1,000 and beyond. We're on our way to $994, $1,300. That's what we would see, you know, just based off of this 1886 to 200 level here. If you see the 1618 getting broken, it's very unlikely that if we were to break above this level, that we would stop anywhere but the 1886 or higher, right? And oftentimes you do go a little bit higher. I would think that not only do we see $1,000, but we probably see targets around like $1,100 or more. That's the expectation. Could we see prices above $1,300? It's possible, but a little bit less likely. Again, targets under 1K, less likely to me. Targets over 1,300, less likely to me, but possible. They're very possible, right? If we take this high to low here and we just assume this to be the low, we don't know if it is, but we're going to assume it to be the low. If it's not the low and the price goes lower, these targets actually only go higher. And if you notice, as I pull this line down, that those targets only move higher. So it's not a bad thing if you go lower necessarily. But the 1618 here, which is exactly where you stopped back here, like to a T, exactly like picture perfect. You can see it here. You stopped right there. It was perfect. That's $918 there. Pretty damn close to this 1886. I would think you do go above that. This was a much larger fib range after all. This insignificant, or not insignificant, I shouldn't say that, this smaller fib range. It's less significant. And oftentimes with the smaller fib ranges, you do see deeper extensions. 1886, 200 level, those are kind of the beginning of these deeper extensions. So it wouldn't be surprising at all. 1886 200 level here, 1886 200 level here. If we saw something that was at least above 1,000, if not even above $1,150 in time, I expect that this move will take place. We'll begin this move. The commencement of this move. That's the word, right? Commencement is going to happen in April, and I think the reality of it will be realized in June, probably June. If not late May, but probably June at this point, right? Maybe early June, maybe late June, but somewhere in June is what I'm thinking. That's, you know, not to say that we won't see some incredible growth going into April and May. I think that we will have some nice recovery going on. But once it comes time for June, mid-June, early June, late June, whatever, $994, $1,300, somewhere in that range. And I really do think that we will see prices above $1,100. That's still very much on the table. After that, I think that we'll go higher. Enough talk, enough repeating myself. Let's look at this monthly time frame, right? If we take the all-time high back here to the all-time low back here, I think we've actually, we have seen higher highs now. It's not the all-time high anymore. Your 1272 here is at $2,000, you guys, $2,000. This is beyond June, right? I don't think we're going to $2,000 by the end of June. Some people think I'm crazy just for calling for $1,000 or more by the end of June, but $2,000 by the end of June, I very much do believe is going to happen. By the end of the cycle, not by the end of June. I'm sorry, guys. By the end of the cycle, I think is going to happen. This was your all-time high for a long time, back in the .com era, Y2K, to the all-time low, right? Wicked volatility. Slow recovery, long recovery. Then you incorporated Bitcoin, and it's been a rapid expansion ever since. From the high to the low of the last bull cycle and the bear cycle low to the high to low of the .com crash back there, right? The 1272 here lines up pretty damn well with the 2272 here. With the 2272, it's very common to go just above it, right? Just above it. And I think we could even go up to the 2618, but I'm not going to call, at one point, I think it was very acceptable to call for a $5,300 target for MicroStrategy by the end of, or strategy by the end of this year, by the end of the Bitcoin crypto season. Now, being that we've consolidated for this long, I don't know if it's an appropriate target anymore. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We'll see. I'm open to changes, but at the moment and for the past few months, the call has been that by the end of the cycle, I expect this thing to be worth over $2,000, likely even over $2,400. We have the 2272 and the 1272 lining up very well here, and it's very common with the 2272 to go just a little bit above that. So even prices that are at $3,000 or more, maybe even just a little bit more, are possible. $2,400 to $3,000, I think, is a good end of cycle target. And we're only at $307 now. Now that's essentially a 10x from the current price. Imagine, just for fun, that MicroStrategy goes down to these lows again, or maybe not even at these lows. Maybe it goes to 250, which I don't think it goes to 250. I think it goes lower than 250, but maybe I'm wrong. But let's say 250. 10x from here at about $300, right, to get to 3,000. To get to that same target, that'd be about a 12x now, right? 10x turns into a 12x. So that's just a little bit. It's a little bit more appetizing, right? Let's say I'm wrong and we don't go down at all. I'm wrong and that is the low and we're just moving up. Great. That's still a 9.7x just to get to about $3,000. So that's still almost a 10x. That's phenomenal. And I would think that we get around there. Maybe we get just above 3,000. Maybe we're just below 3,000, but I think that's a good target area. If we hit the 1272, that's still a 6.5x by the end of the cycle. I very much believe, and if you look at the volume, you look at the interest, right? There's only been more volume coming in, volume that we've never seen before in this thing's history. And of course there is, right? Of course there is. It's the Bitcoin bank of the world, essentially. And some people like that. Some people don't like that. They want to get away from that, whatever, man. It is what it is. They they literally have like 1 or 2% of the supply. I mean, how much, man? How much here? What do we got, Grok? Hit me with the deets, Grok. How much of the current Bitcoin supply does MSTR have? Hit me. What do we got here, Grok? I almost said MicroStrategy. 2.6. This means MicroStrategy holds roughly 2.68% of the current Bitcoin supply. That's a lot, man, riding on Bitcoin. And the thing is, if Bitcoin goes up, and it has gone up this cycle, right? We've only seen it go up. We bumped this out to a monthly time frame. It's only gone up from about 15,000 all the way up to 109,000. It's only gone up. MicroStrategy has only gone up more. We take a low to a high, and we see that MicroStrategy has pulled off a 41x, essentially, just under a 41x, minus 4%, 41x. Bitcoin, from its low to high, has pulled off a 7x, okay? I'm anticipating that a lot of the growth for MicroStrategy is probably already done. I don't think we're going to go to $5,000, but it's possible. It could happen. Okay, and I think once we see how this next move goes through, we'll have a better understanding. If we're at $2,000 or more by the end of this next move, you guys, $5,000 becomes a very likely target by the end of the cycle for MicroStrategy. Just to make that clear. Now, what I don't expect, and if we do look here, MSTR did top off last cycle in February 2021. Bitcoin topped off in November. The end of the bull cycle was April of 2021, but the all-time high itself, the beginning of the bear market, was November. MicroStrategy, whether you want to say the Bitcoin bull market ended in April or it ended in November, whatever, ending in February is a little bit earlier than either of those times. I'm expecting the same thing is going to happen. I don't think that MicroStrategy will move up and top off at the exact same time as Bitcoin. I think it will top off before Bitcoin. So I'm expecting, and I am expecting, that Bitcoin tops off this year in 2025 in October, maybe November, maybe September. Then we can turn those maybes into maybe August, maybe September, maybe October for MicroStrategy. Okay, MicroStrategy probably likely tops off first. So the reason why I'm saying this is I expect that by the end of the cycle, Bitcoin will be worth over $500,000, if not about $500,000. And that's about another 481%. MicroStrategy from a 7x saw a 41x, okay? So talking about Bitcoin doing another like 5.8x, that might imply that MicroStrategy has a lot of growth to go. But what I think is going to happen is MicroStrategy will top off probably when Bitcoin is well below 500K. Maybe it's worth 200,000, maybe it's for 300,000, but something in that zone. I don't know. You know, maybe let's say 200,000, that's 136%. 300,000 is 252%. That's a lot less, but that still leaves a lot of room to grow. Hold on. I gotta sneeze. I want to sneeze, please. It won't let me. Going up to the targets that I'm talking about gives it something on the lines of a 9 to a 10x from here relative to a 100 to 250% move. You know, I think that that's pretty appropriate personally. I think that makes sense to me. But maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You know, we'll see how it goes. That's my expectations, at least at the moment. Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe if you want to see more like this. We are showing more bullish readings than we've ever seen in this thing's existence. We are literally at the moment finding support at prior all-time highs, not rejecting them. We're finding support at prior all-time highs, and even if we go a little bit lower, it's fine. It's totally fine. You're in price discovery. I think your best days are ahead of you, or maybe your best days are behind you. You've seen, I don't know how to phrase this. You've seen the majority of this move. I don't think that you're going to double from here. You know, I don't think that you're going to see a repeat of this move and go all the way up to like 6 or 7 grand. But maybe you do. You know, you never know. But I am thinking of that by the end of the cycle, 24 to 3,000, maybe even just above there is where you're going to go. By the end of May, by the end of June, above $1,000, 1,100 to 1,300 more specifically. And over the coming days, over the coming weeks, probably just below 250, if not even down to $200. And if you go below $200, it's fine. Your readings on the RSI are more bullish than they've ever been. You have more consistent readings in the overbought zone than we've ever seen, and oftentimes this produces a lot of oomph to the upside. And I think you're going to get that oomph here in a second. You just got to shimmy on down over the coming days here. So I'll see you on the next one, and perhaps I even say over the coming days. It might even be next week that we find our low, but it's completely possible. However, unlikely in my opinion, that maybe we don't go lower. That's also something that we should accept as a possibility. So hard to say, but I am sticking with the notion that MicroStrategy goes below 250. I'm going to stop talking. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.